This is Guy with Cow on Head, finally giving you the long-awaited and long-delayed review of the series finale of Moonlight. Because I had recorded this at one point, decided the audio wasn't good, deleted it, and it was never published to my YouTube channel. Thought I should try again, and well, this is me trying again. Although I've been more tolerant with some of the bad audio than I should have on some videos, and can't honestly tell based on how I watched this. So hopefully the audio is good. Now you may notice that I'm wearing a different cow for this Moonlight review. Maybe I'll explain more. This will not actually be my last Moonlight review because I'll have at least one and maybe two more after this. So what happened in the last episode of Moonlight? A lot happened, and yet not as much as one would like. You see, one of the things I had said in a previous video was that it was unknown whether or not the cleaner was human or a vampire. Well, if it was unclear to me before, it is clear now that the cleaner is most definitely a vampire and not a human. And that's how she's able to help vampires. Because she does appear in this episode, as do a lot of Nick's old friends. I don't know if they knew it was the final episode, because they probably would have done things differently if it were. Basically, it starts with Joseph opening a basketball place and he's being celebrated. And there's a vampire couple that have been together for 150 years. Jackson and Emma, I believe. I think that's who it was, but I can check in case I'm wrong. But there is this murder that takes place, because a lot of the episodes involve murder some other time. Weren't they all murders? Surely I should know this. There's only 16 and I've reviewed all of them now. So there's a star basketball player that gets murdered, and different people are asked around different places and different people, and they learn who might be a suspect. There's this one vampire woman who talks about how college is a great place to be in because no one notices that you're up all night and sleeping the day away. And Ned comments were like, well, what about drawing blood from people? Surely they would notice that. And it's like, oh, well, they might not notice when a hickey is more than a hickey. And she even goes on to say that sometimes she might not draw from the neck. And do I even want to know what she's implying? Because I'm pretty sure I know what she's implying and yet don't understand it at all. So why would you want that part of you bitten into? Anyways, I wouldn't do that. I mean, maybe that, but not that way, if that makes sense. I should go back to the episode. Joseph was dating this Freshie, which is the name of a human that basically dates vampires I don't know where the term freshie comes from. And she's a suspect, but she's cleared because Joseph was sucking her blood, even though that can't actually be revealed for the humans. It's ultimately revealed that the wife of this 150-year vampire couple was the person who killed the basketball player. She did it as an accident. It happened before she realized it, but typical, she wasn't just honest about it, because surely if you were honest about that, you wouldn't get in trouble, right? Or at least there would be much less severe consequences, since you didn't intend to kill someone, you were honest about it, and you didn't try to hide anything, cover anything up. Because that, I feel like so many fictional characters just need to be like, hold on, I killed someone by mistake, I should just tell the police what happened. Otherwise they just commit further crimes, and then it's completely justified that they go to jail or whatever. Hopefully jail, but who knows. I don't know if that always works in reality, though, but at the very least, manslaughter would be considered involuntary and considered less, right? Maybe some legal expert can comment on that for me, because I actually talked to a lawyer hypothetically. I do a lot of hypotheticals. It's probably because I want to be a crime writer. It's like, but I don't think that'll happen now, but who knows. I'd rather be a YouTuber, or at least a TV show reviewer. I'm getting off topic. The complication of this episode is a vampire can't survive in prison long, so when Emma is basically in prison, having confessed to the murder, the vampires have to arrange a way to break her out in order to save her life. But there's more to it, because there's another problem. She is threatening to reveal all the vampires in LA, which would be a really huge problem. So basically, they break her out of jail things don't go exactly as they should, but it still works in the end. They break her out of jail, but that's just so that they can wind up killing her, and her husband wants to die too, not wanting to part from her, so they hug each other while the flamethrower winds up killing them off screen. You don't really see it happen. And of course there's more to the story, because whatever list is revealed to one of the cops, but we don't know if he knows the meaning of the list. He just gets a phone call saying, "List is for your eyes only, we'll be in touch." But we don't know if he knows that these are vampires, or who actually gave the list in the end. And the other thing going on in this episode is a subplot where Bass sees Mick sucking the blood of a human, and she walks in on it. And I'm sure there are worse things to walk in on, but in a world with vampires, that's probably the equivalent of, I don't even know a good equivalent, but perhaps? I don't know, or maybe it's like getting handsy with someone. Maybe that's more like it. So anyway, she doesn't like it, there's friction between it, Beth isn't sure if there can be a relationship between her and Mick since she's human and he's a vampire. She starts to walk away, but he chases after her, and then they talk some about how they first met as she was walking barefoot and he remembers it. They decide to get romantically involved after all. At least that's what we can imply, because they make out, the door closes on them, and the series as a whole. Maybe they even have sex, but who knows? That can only be implied to happen right afterwards, but as you can see, there's more questions that aren't really resolved, like this whole list isn't returned to. And there's more unresolved things I plan to get into in the other episode, or in other reviews, because, yeah, that is an issue. And one of the reasons I don't like this episode as much, and you really don't want the worst episode of your series to be the last one. That's what happened with Time After Time. It was such a good show, but the final episode just failed in so many ways. Although maybe it wouldn't have if it hadn't gotten canceled. And maybe I should be lucky that I even got to see the rest of the series anyways. Thank you, CW Seed. So yeah. So I didn't like this episode as much, and that's the main reason why I have a different cow, but I'll go back to the normal Moonlight cow for the other ones. Like the maybe a recap as a whole or other unresolved stuff. Anyways, now I finally, after all these years, finished these reviews, and I should be doing that with all the other reviews I haven't finished yet. Because there's a lot. And some I haven't started, but I'm working on, and I should really start doing movie reviews, even though there's just one I need to focus on more than any others. Yeah, lots of videos I need to make, and we'll see how much time I have for them. I could actually, if I had all the content schedule stuff out all the way till December, based on the new way I'm doing things, but I may not reach self-imposed deadlines, which would be sad, but expected, because it hasn't been me for a long time now. I'm just gonna stop rambling now and maybe record another video. Bye.